greetings and aloha. I'm Craig Wagnild. I get the honor of being your guest host today on Think Tech Asia. This is on Think Tech Hawaii, and today we're going to talk about the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar Association, something I know a little bit about, having served as a 2013 president of the Hawaii State Bar Association, and previously serving also as the treasurer and the president of, the chair, I guess, of the International Law Section. But with me, I have the current chair of the International Law Section. I also have a partner and international attorney extraordinaire, Alan Fujimoto, and also Rex Fujichaku, who's the current chair of the International Law Section. So thank you, gentlemen, for being here and being willing to talk and tell us about how the International Law Section and those members of our bar that are involved in international law are helping take the Bar Association, say, global.
You're welcome, Craig. It was terrific to be here.
Great. Well, Alan, let me talk first with you a little bit because you have the distinction of certainly having practiced the most of all of us and seen the bar,
Yes,
I think, slowly grow into more of a global bar. What have you seen happen, and particularly most recently, but even from when you were first practicing, how have things changed in that regard?
Well, I started practicing back in 1985. Back then, there was very little in the way of international practice in Hawaii. And actually, I was with a small law firm called Kashiwa and Kato that had, it was a boutique firm handling a lot of Japan-based investor clients. That's how I started into my law practice. Got exposed to all of the Japan investment coming in. And at the time, Mark Schloff, who is not here, is also involved in a lot of these international matters, had started an association called the Hiroshima, Hawaii, Japan, Hiroshima, Hawaii Law Association, or some such organization. I can't even remember the name of it now. And he was working on that. That sort of transformed into the Inter-Pacific Bar Association, although there's a little longer story there. It transformed into the Inter-Pacific Bar Association in 1991, and it's going on now with annual conferences in different parts of Asia. And of course, as you know, the Hawaii State Bar Association has gotten involved in various friendship agreements with different bar associations in Asia. So that has, well, this has happened over a period of 30 years that I've been practicing, and we're still going strong in that area.
Yeah. And Rex, you've been involved, serving as a chair of the International Law Section in a number of these friendship agreements coming about. How did that happen?
Well, like Alan mentioned, Mark Schloff and others who are members of the bar had formed a section of the Hawaii State Bar Association called the International Law Section. Mark was one of the founders. You, Craig, you served as the chair for a number of years of the section. I've been the chair of the section for a few years now, and the focus of our section is to really provide a forum for our members who are interested in various aspects of international practice, the laws of foreign jurisdictions that they may be interested in or know of, and also to foster relationships and communication and really friendships with our sister bar associations in various jurisdictions, mostly right now in Asia.
Okay. And how many of these friendship agreements has the bar entered into at this point?
Okay, I think at this point we have 4 or 5 friendship agreements. The first one was with a Japanese bar association called the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association. That is our longest serving friendship agreement. We also have one with the Seoul Bar Association in Seoul, Korea, the largest bar association in Korea. We have one with the Shanghai Bar Association, and also with another Chinese jurisdiction, the Suzhou Bar Association. And we are hoping to expand that and perhaps have more friendship agreements as our members and those who want to be friends with us in Hawaii, those ties develop.
Okay. And help me understand, I guess either one of you, what does it mean to have a friendship agreement with them? I mean, it sounds warm and fuzzy, but what type of arrangements are made as a result of a friendship agreement? What exchanges or what obligations are being placed on the bar associations and members?
Well, let me talk about the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association. That friendship agreement was signed in 2005.
Yes.
And at the time, the objective was to get the two bar associations to exchange ideas, and primarily by attending meetings, holding seminars, having social events, so the attendees can get to know each other better. And the programs basically are intended to cover areas of law that are of mutual interest to both the Japanese and us attorneys here in Hawaii. So that has been going on. Every 2 years, one of us goes over to the other jurisdiction, and in fact, this April, several of us HSBA members, I believe all three of us, will be headed to Tokyo for the continuation of this friendship agreement, conference, seminar, and social activities.
Okay. Okay. So every 2 years, so it's in Tokyo, then the next time will be in Honolulu.
Right.
It's not in a middle ground or something.
No.
Not yet.
In a neutral zone.
No, and so 2 years ago, there
Yes.
was a delegation from Tokyo who had visited us in Honolulu.
Yes.
They went on tours. I think they went to the Supreme Court and met with many of our judges. I got to sit in, I think, on a jury trial. And so they get to see firsthand our system of law in action. And when we go to Tokyo in April, hopefully we'll see some of that. I think we have scheduled a visit to the Japan Supreme Court.
Okay.
And
And
so
the seminar program is going to be about estate planning issues that affect both Japanese and Americans. So it should be interesting. The other thing we do is there are a lot of Hawaii attorneys practicing in Tokyo.
Yes.
So what we do is conduct a CLE program. So the attorneys, Hawaii attorneys in Japan can get their CLE credits, and we've got one program scheduled in Tokyo this year again.
Okay, so these are the mandatory continuing legal education
right.
credits that they would otherwise have to satisfy either online or through some other kind
That's
of
right,
program,
yeah.
right? Okay, and then so the program being put on by bar association members that are traveling over for this program, is that right?
That's correct. There'll be, is it 3 speakers from Hawaii? Or 4 speakers? 3 or 4 speakers
3.
from Hawaii. And I believe 2 from Tokyo that'll be speaking.
Oh, at the joint program.
Right.
Right, right. How important, Alan, is language to all this? Because you speak fluent Japanese, and
I do.
and being able to not only converse but to read and operate within their language is extraordinarily beneficial. I would have no doubt that is an outstanding skill. What about for those members of the bar that don't necessarily have the language skill but have the interest and involvement? Are they able to participate in these things as well?
They can. Every program is either done bilingually by bilingual speakers, or we do also have a volunteer translator who is practicing in Tokyo and Hawaii, I guess. That'll be helping us in the translation. And the other thing too is that now with the internationalization of law practice, a lot of the attorneys in Tokyo speak pretty good English too. So, yeah,
Okay.
so if people are interested, they shouldn't be afraid because they personally don't speak Japanese. That should not be an issue.
it's not stopping me, that's for sure.
Good.
Now, is that true also of the other programs in China or with Korea? Is very similar type arrangements in the friendship agreements?
I have to say that for the Chinese Bar Association members that we've met, a lot of them speak very good conversational English, if not near fluency. And so our exchanges have, for the most part, been in English because we have been so lucky to have colleagues on the other side who have a desire and hopefully a love of the English language. For our association with Seoul Bar Association, I think for the most part, the conversations have been in English. Although we do have in Hawaii members who are also fluent in Korean, and so that has helped facilitate our dialogue.
Are the arrangements through the friendship agreement essentially similar to what is going on with the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association? In other words, meeting every couple of years and having a program, a joint conference type program, or
well, we certainly are hoping to have that type of regular exchanges. That certainly keeps up the momentum for these friendship agreements, and so that certainly is the goal for all of the friendship agreements we have now in place.
Yeah, the friendship agreement with the Seoul Bar Association was signed in 2013 when the Seoul Bar Association members were in Hawaii, and several of us were in Seoul last year to attend the reciprocal conference there. And again, everything was translated into Korean with Korean translators. And like Rex mentioned, there are several Hawaii members who are fluent in Korean who can, I don't recall that at any of the programs, any of them spoke in Korean, but we do have a number of Korean fluent attorneys here in Hawaii too.
Okay, well, I'm going to take it from there when we come back. You're watching ThinkTech Asia on ThinkTech Hawaii. We're talking about the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Aloha, this is Maria Mera, and I'm here to invite you to my bilingual show, Viva Hawaii on ThinkTech Hawaii, every other Monday at 3 p.m. We're here to inform, motivate, and entertain you. Join us. Hola, soy María Mera y estoy aquí para invitaros a mi show bilingüe Viva Hawaii en ThinkTech Hawaii cada 2 lunes a las 3 de la tarde. Estamos aquí para informaros, motivaros y entreteneros. Apuntaros.
Aloha! Hello, my name is Patrick Bratton. I'm host at Global Connections here at ThinkTech Hawaii. We broadcast live every Thursday at 1 p.m. We bring Hawaii to the world and the world to Hawaii, talking about international events and various things of interest to the audience. Please join me. I look forward to talking with you and having you get to meet some of my guests. Aloha.
Aloha, I'm Kaui Lucas, host of Hawaii is My Mainland, here on ThinkTech Hawaii every Friday at 3 p.m. We address issues of importance for those of us who live here on the most isolated landmass on the planet. Please come join me Fridays at 3 p.m. Mahalo.
All right, we're back. Aloha again at ThinkTech Asia, appearing here on ThinkTech Hawaii. And we're talking about the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar Association. With me, I have Rex Fujichaku, the current chair of the International Law section of the bar. And I also have Alan Fujimoto, partner and international attorney at Goodsell, Anderson, Quinn & Stifel. Great to have both of you here, and we've had an interesting conversation so far to sort of set the groundwork for where the bar has been going. And it's been going towards sort of a more global type, I was going to say practice, but at least a more global type environment. We're looking at friendship agreements with a number of different countries in the Pacific Rim, opportunities for sharing and exchanging with bar associations there. Let me start with this. What have you found, if it's not languages, what have been the largest impediments or challenges in moving towards friendship agreements and arrangements with these bar associations?
Well, I definitely think that maybe not an impediment, but one of the benefits of having these agreements with these sister bar associations is that if I'm an attorney in Hawaii, I have a client who has some relationship, business, or problem involving either a foreign company or something in a foreign jurisdiction, I will have hopefully develop personal relationships with lawyers in, say, Tokyo or Seoul or Shanghai, that I can just pick up the phone and call them up and say, I have a problem, can you help me out? Do you know who would be a good person, if it's not yourself, in your city that I can get legal assistance from? And hopefully that kind of communication will be reciprocal, where if lawyers in Tokyo have a problem for one of their clients, they can call Alan up and say, hey, Alan, I got a problem with one of my clients, can you help me out? And I think all of us have had that kind of benefit where, you know, we've had the good fortune to know people from other countries because of the friendship agreements that the bar has instituted.
Okay. So one of the major benefits you're seeing from this is the relationships that develop and the opportunity perhaps to develop, you know, business from that, and also to develop the ability to better serve your clients here that have issues perhaps in other countries.
Absolutely.
Am I reading that one correctly?
You are.
Alan, you've had that both perhaps through this, but also even before that through IPBA. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I've been involved with, before the friendship agreement started with the HSBA, I've been involved with other international organizations. Like you mentioned, the Inter-Pacific Bar Association is a major organization that I've been involved with. And I've had the good fortune of getting referrals through attorneys I've come to know. And these are from Japan primarily, but of course also from places like Korea, Singapore. And on the other hand, when we've had clients who had some business dealings, for example, in India, we could easily refer attorneys we've gotten to know personally to these clients of ours. So it's been very beneficial in that way.
And you've served in, and you'll forgive, I don't remember the name of the particular position, but in the leadership of the Inter-Pacific Bar Association.
Okay, I was Secretary General of the IPBA for a couple of years, 2011 to 2013. And that involves pretty much the administration of the organization. The IPBA, although it's an international organization, is a fairly small organization in terms of the administrative help that we can get. There are 3 administrative assistants in Tokyo, as opposed to a large organization like the International Bar Association, which is headquartered in London. Mm-hmm. They have a huge organization that handles their administrative matters. Compared to that, the IPBA is a smaller organization, but because of it is a smaller organization, you get to meet people and get to know the people. In fact, I was at the International Bar Association IBA conference in Tokyo a couple of years back. There was an attendance of over 7,000 people.
Wow.
To try to locate somebody. For example, Supreme Court Justice Sabrina McKenna was there.
Yes. And
we were trying to find each other at the welcome reception. There's no way you can find her. So in contrast, at the IPBA, you might have an attendance of 1,000. You get to know a lot of people, and you get to see a lot of these people over and over each year. So you develop friendships and get to know people personally. So the IPBA has been really great.
Well, and that's been true even with the friendship agreement, my own involvement with the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association arrangement that we have, and the friendship agreement that we have with them. I mean, you mentioned Justice McKenna. Justice McKenna, not everyone realizes, is completely fluent in Japanese, and actually grew up learning that as a child, and still is not only fluent but understanding and very knowledgeable about history and customs and everything else in Japan. She's also quite a good singer and has sang for the groups there. So there's an exchange that takes place on an interpersonal level, I think, that is probably unique to have a Supreme Court justice there that can not only speak your language if you're a Japanese attorney, but also sing and enjoy discussing matters that are not necessarily related to a legal case is quite an opportunity.
Oh, it is, and she has attended the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association conference in the past.
Yes.
And I understand she was in India recently for some other international conference. So talk about the internationalization of the HSBA. The justices are getting internationalized as well. So.
So Rex, was this a goal? You came in to serve as a chair of the international law section to take it. You know, when you came in, we already had the friendship agreement, I believe, with Daiichi Tokyo. But from there, the question was, well, where do we go? Is it going to stay with just that one friendship agreement, or is it going to grow into something else? And you know, even I, for one, at the time, had not envisioned that this would be something that would grow more. Was that a goal of yours? Was that something that you vetted out and decided on, or how did this come about?
Well, it has really been a goal of our membership, and we've been very lucky to have members who are passionate about growing the relationships that Hawaii lawyers and the Bar Association has with our friends in foreign jurisdictions. And so it actually has been quite organic and not really planned, but I'm pleasantly surprised that we've been able to build these relationships. The welcome that we get when we reach out to these foreign jurisdictions is quite amazing. And I think Hawaii being Hawaii, even if lawyers in, say, Suzhou have never been to Hawaii, they know of Hawaii and they have a fond place, I think, in their hearts and want to get to know us better, and we want to get to know them better. And what better way than to build these friendship agreements, lawyer to lawyer organization and individual to individual, and that's how we really get bridges built, relationships established, and, you know, frankly, business opportunities will develop from that.
Oh, Rex, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand Mark Schloff, who's not here, is working on some program with the Vietnamese attorneys now, so that might be the next.
That may be the next friendship agreement and the next step. And
yes, now we have, I guess, warming ties with Vietnam and the U.S. and Vietnam is certainly another jurisdiction that we're looking at. We're trying to establish regular conference calls with them. And so I'm hopeful that we will have more formal ties in the very near future.
Well, at one time, I believe it was during the time that Rich Turbot was serving as president of the bar, we had a visitation by the Mongolian Bar Association. And we've had a number of others. Are these coming, are these requests for the friendship agreement coming from the other countries? Are bar associations there thinking, wow, let's, you know, when you're picking where to have a friendship arrangement with and such, Hawaii is closer, it's warm, it's a great spot to bring our families to when we come to visit. Is that where it's coming from, or are we picking those locations and saying, you know, we are strategically, we don't have one, for example, Vietnam or, you know, another country?
Mm-hmm.
How
I
is
can
that
tell
coming
you about
about?
the Seoul Bar Association situation. Yes. Back in 2013, or in 2012, I believe it was, Dr. Yangmu Shin was president of the Korean Bar Association at the time, was visiting Hawaii to promote the IPBA annual conference in Seoul in 2013. And at that time, he suggested to a number of us, well, why don't you get together with the Seoul Bar Association and do something? And that's where it really started from the Korean side. So when a number of us went to Seoul in 2013 for the IPBA conference, we naturally asked for a meeting with the SBA people, and they were very enthusiastic about it. So that's how the Seoul Bar Association situation got started.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's also true for the Shanghai and Suzhou relationships. It really came out of a number of attorneys here and a number of attorneys in those cities basically wanting to build upon the relationships and the contacts that they had. They liked what they saw, they liked who we are, and we liked them. And so it really built upon a base where individual interests blossomed into something that we wanted to build as an institution. And so for the Chinese cities, I know that Mark Schloff, Roger Epstein, Larry Foster, former dean at the UH Law School, and others really wanted to build a lasting bridge to those communities because we frankly want to see more Chinese visitors and more Chinese investment here in Hawaii. And that's certainly one way we can do that.
Well, you've mentioned an interesting and until now unbroached part of this equation, and that is the University of Hawaii, in particular the William S. Richardson School of Law, and their both interest and involvement in international law and international affairs, international students. I mean, now they have an international LLM program there for a very long time. Of course, the East-West Center is located up very, very near to them. But also, they've always been more global-looking. Professor Mark Levin, who's there, who not only speaks, reads, and writes Japanese, but teaches classes in Japanese law, and they have numerous other international programs. How does that fit into the type of programs that we put on with our friendship agreements or the relations that we have with some of these other bar associations in other countries?
Well, I know that we have an outstanding faculty at the UH Richardson Law School who have quite deep and broad connections with lawyers in other communities, in those Asian communities, and so they've been an invaluable resource for the Bar Association in order to know who's out there who can make this happen. And I'm hoping that certainly the new relationships that we're building, the UH Law School faculty and their resources will be a key component.
And if I'm not mistaken, I believe UH Law students help out when the different bar associations come out here. And when we do the seminars, they're helping out in the various programs, and they get to sit in on the seminars without charge.
Without charge.
It's good for them as well. And the other thing is, I believe a number of us annually go up to the law school to present a symposium on practicing international law here in Hawaii. So UH Law students that have an interest in that area can find out what professionals working in that area are doing, so they can figure out maybe this is something what I'd like to do when I'm an attorney.
Okay, well, we'll come back to the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar Association and the practice of law. You're watching Think Asia on Think Tech Hawaii. We'll be right back.
Hello, I'm Stephen Katz, and I'm the host of Shrink Wrap, which comes to you live every Tuesday at 3 p.m. on thinktechhawaii.com, and then it's repeated again whenever you want if you go to the website. On our show, we will be talking to all different kinds of therapists, psychologists, psychoanalysts, psychiatrists, people who talk about the mind, the brain, and about different ways to find happiness. I myself am a marriage and family therapist in practice here in Hawaii, and I hope you will join us because I've got a lot to learn, you've got a lot to learn, and it's a great ride. Thanks a lot. See you soon.
Okay, I'm Jay Fidel, that's Ray Starling. We co-host a show called Hawaii, the State of Clean Energy, every Wednesday, 4 to 5 p.m. It's really interesting. You know, Ray has a way of unzipping these guys. He asks them these questions and all this stuff tumbles out, and we find out stuff we would never know about without Ray's questions. Thank you, Ray.
You're welcome, Jay. I'm very pleased to be your Ed McMahon every Wednesday at 4 o'clock here on the internet. So you can join us and see what's happening in the energy world, and there is a lot going on. So join us every Wednesday at 4 o'clock.
Yeah, come around, be energized right here on Think Tech. Aloha.
3, 2. And we're back. This is Think Tech Asia. We're talking about the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar Association on Think Tech Hawaii. I'm Craig Wagnild, and I have the honor of hosting, guest hosting, if you will, this segment and discussion, perhaps because I served as a 2013 president of the Hawaii State Bar, and perhaps because I've been involved with our international law section and international issues and such with our bar for a number of years. But I also have with me the current chair of our international law section, Rex Fujichaku, and international law attorney, Alan Fujimoto. We've been talking about the different friendship agreements that have been set up between bar associations, our Hawaii State Bar Association, the bar associations of a number of different Pacific Rim countries. I guess the next step to this is where does this go from here? Not just what other countries might we add. We've talked about Vietnam, there may be other Pacific Rim countries, but what implications are there for our state as a whole, and how might this be used in some manner, to help, economically, to help, boost our stature on a legal basis, I keep thinking of it as we're in this perfectly located situation in the middle of the Pacific to be, a forum for arbitration, dispute resolution type things. How is it that we might be able to use this, and has that been a part of discussions or considerations? Either of you, Alan?
It really hasn't been part of the discussion, but I believe the governor and the governor and the mayor periodically travel to Japan, China, Korea to try to boost business to Hawaii. So I can't see why the attorneys can't get involved in the trips that our governor and mayor would take to get together with them to try to boost the businesses coming into Hawaii, and at the same time developing our relationships with the attorneys in these Asian countries as well.
Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of what we're trying to accomplish with friendship agreements, with joint seminars with foreign attorneys is building familiarity with our judicial system, with immigration laws, with investment laws, things of that nature, tax, of course, that will help others understand our legal system here and hopefully get them comfortable about being in the United States, and also us helping our clients who want to establish ties or strengthen ties in these foreign jurisdictions. And so, and I think in general, we've seen the growing internationalization of the law. And certainly I'm a commercial litigator. For my firm, we have foreign clients who have dealings in Hawaii, and when you get into litigation, you have discovery, you have judgments from maybe foreign jurisdictions that want to be collected upon in the United States. And the more we can help our clients understand and navigate the American system, the more I can understand how I can collect a judgment in Japan. That will certainly build upon what I think we increasingly see as an international law practice.
Did you know, Alan, when you started, hey, I'm going to go into international law, this is going to be my area and this is how I want to practice, or is that something that you fell into because of your language skills, or how did that develop? And then
Well, I knew offhand that I was going to be getting into that area. I'm fluent in Japanese, so it was a natural situation for me to be involved with the Japan investors. And it just so happens that when I started practicing law, it was basically the beginning of the bubble when all of the Japanese were coming here in droves. So I was pretty busy the first few years as an associate at Goodsell. So it came very naturally. And it follows that there will be others coming in. We're seeing a little more of Korean and Chinese investment. Well, actually, I remember I worked on a matter with you. We had a Japanese client seller.
And of all things, I had a Chinese client buyer. I mean, I usually have Japanese clients as well. I can't speak any Chinese, but had a very nice gentleman, Chinese gentleman, and his company that were involved with that. But that was a fascinating international deal, involving essentially clients from two different countries, but all dealing with property and a business here.
So I'm sure there's going to be a lot more of that coming. So attorneys in Hawaii should be prepared for that, and friendship agreements and getting to know attorneys and the laws in different parts of Asia, that can only help.
Rex, how about yourself? How did you get involved with the international law aspect of practice?
Well, you know, I actually studied at the UH Law School, and I was lucky to be exposed to the rich resources that the law school has on a lot of Asian law jurisdictions, and so that piqued my interest. I actually got a graduate degree in international law, so I built upon that. And like I said, my practice right now, I have clients who are foreign companies who have operations here in Hawaii, have litigation in Hawaii. And so my involvement with the international law section has been terrific because I can bring some of the insights that I get from some of our talks or some of our speakers that we are really fortunate to get from not only nationwide, but from other countries. And that has really helped my knowledge base and my practice. And so I am hoping that the Bar Association will only expand upon what we have now. And I think that is kind of the inevitable way that we're going. And you know, I've talked to some of my counterparts in other state bar associations, and the Hawaii State Bar Association is one of the most active ones in getting sister foreign bar agreements, friendship agreements, and so I like to keep that up.
I think that's great. Let me ask this, because in the short time we have left, you know, next month, I would say the two of you, but the three of us are going to be traveling over to Tokyo, Japan, for the latest installment of the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association's friendship arrangement with the Hawaii State Bar Association. In fact, it's a renewal time. We're up for renewal, if you will. Our friendship agreement, if all things will expire, which sounds odd. The friendship won't expire, but I guess the agreement itself could potentially expire. It will be renewed. Tell me a little bit about what's going to happen at this. You know, you mentioned the MCLE program. There's going to be some other programs. What if people were interested in going? When is it, and what's going to happen?
Okay, well, I actually have the brochure here with me.
I thought you might.
Yes. So the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association HSBA program is going to take place April 18th to the 20th. It's going to be in Tokyo, and we're going to have sessions at the Daiichi Bar offices and other offices throughout Tokyo, and we'll of course have a number of social activities, so we get to know our colleagues better.
Receptions and others. There's also a tour of the Supreme Court building, as I recall.
That's right.
One of the Supreme Court justices is going to lead everyone through that. That should be really interesting.
Yes, we're all looking forward to that. I forget the exact justice who we're meeting with, but you don't remember.
No.
Do you remember, Alan? Yeah. But he seems very impressive. We also his bio, and we are certainly looking forward to that because I'm sure meeting him will give us some insight into how the law in Japan works.
Yeah, the welcome reception is on the 18th. There's another reception hosted by the Daiichi Tokyo folks the next day, and there's a final farewell dinner. So there'll be a lot of chances to get to know each other on a very social, friendly atmosphere. So,
and in addition to that, you've got at least at the welcome reception, as I recall, we're going to have a fair number of our colleagues who are practicing law there in Tokyo, who are invited. And so certainly for those that apparently are watching the internet right now or this program, you know, this is an opportunity. We'd like to have you there, right? And that's a chance for us to get to know those that are members of our bar, but just are not practicing here in Hawaii.
Actually, I understand we already have 28 people signed up from Hawaii, so that's quite a lot.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, so we've got a large contingency. As I recall, I believe this is our third time traveling to Japan for this, and that has been, this is certainly the largest contingent that we've ever had go.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2 years, They'll come back over here.
Right.
Is that right? For those that might be interested, is there any restriction in terms of, do they need to be members of the international law section? Are there restrictions to do that?
No, we've thrown the conference open to all bar association members, and so they need not be a member of the international law section to join us. I think
But there's no reason they can't join, right?
there's no reason they can't join. Our annual dues are quite reasonable, $15 for the entire year. And actually what's interesting about our little section is that we have members who are not even Hawaii State Bar Association members, but are so interested in our programs and our topics that they've joined our little section. And some of them will actually be coming to Tokyo with us.
I understand one attorney from France.
Yes, one attorney from France, one attorney from London. And we also have HSBA members who practice on the mainland coming to this event. So it
The
should
whole
be
group
great.
meeting up, right? April 18th through the 20th, Tokyo, Japan. Should be a great time. It is the friendship agreement and the joint conference between the Hawaii State Bar Association and the Daiichi Tokyo Bar Association. It happens every couple of years. They'll be renewing their friendship agreement. It should be a great opportunity, and certainly for all bar members, this is an opportunity to get over there, build up some business, and build up some relationships. Well, on behalf of myself and Alan and Rex, I want to thank you for being here and listening to Think Asia, talking about the internationalization of the Hawaii State Bar Association. Hopefully we'll be back in a year or a couple of years telling you about all the other countries and all the other friendship agreements and arrangements we've made. You're watching Think Tank Hawaii. Thanks.